Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Coffee with the Critters, where we live stream every Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, unless otherwise noted. My name is Laura Joseph, owner of the Animal Behavior Center. We're an international educational center where we teach people all over the world how to understand behavior, improve the life of the animals we care for. We do that through the science of behavior, known as applied behavior analysis, and we help teach you through our online services. Pretty much, we help you improve the animal's quality of life through understanding behavior, modifying behavior, training, using applied behavior analysis and positive reinforcement, and understanding the importance of enrichment. You can find out more about what we do on our website, theanimalbehaviorcenter.com, where you'll find all of our service. You can also contact me there. And my email is Lara, Lara, at theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. And I want to tell you to feel free to contact me with any questions at any time, especially on today's topic, which is extremely important. And it's going to take me, I got to really stay focused because this topic is so extremely important, not just enrichment, but also identifying when stimuli fall short. Um, so I'm not going to get into what enrichment is. We focus on that. That is our priority behind our business, the Animal Behavior Center, and enrichment comes in many different formats. We're in many different forms, including training, which is why we train. So I'm pulling up my notes here, and it's just a bulleted point list that I work on before the live stream to make sure I cover everything in detail. I'm sure a lot of people are going to have a lot of questions. So feel free to let me know during the live stream or even after. So how do we know when we're looking at enrichment? Enrichment is one of the most important things we should be focusing on when we have animals in our care, whether that's through an educational facility, wildlife rehab, zoo, shelter, companion animal in the home. If you're interacting with animals, enrichment is one of the most important things you can provide. It is not an option. It is a necessity. And if you look at regulations, late scientific studies, which I'm currently reading one, I'm always reading a scientific study, you will see how this field has grown over the past 10 to 15 years. Like I said, it's no longer an option. It is a necessity. And that's why the Animal Behavior Center exists, because we see that necessity. When the animal is not enriched, you'll see things such as behavior issues, abnormal repetitive behaviors, also known as stereotypical behaviors, that can lead to self-injurious behaviors, which can lead to medical issues, which can lead to death. And I know this, I have seen this over the years. I focus a lot on enriching animals, using enrichment to reduce behavior issues, especially intense, challenging issues such as long periods of abnormal repetitive behaviors being reinforced due to lack of enriching environments. So some of the things I look for this is when I know enrichment is not enrichment. Lack of interaction or engagement. You can have all these objects in the animal's enclosure, environment, whatever. If they are not interacting with it, it is not enrichment. Animals learn from interacting with the enrichment. Persistent abnormal repetitive behaviors, also known as stereotypical behaviors, also described as repetitive functionless behaviors, and I'm here to tell you they are not functionless. They are serving a function for that animal, and that is often the animal having to cope with the stress in their environment. I don't want to see stress in an animal's environment. Sometimes, depending on the level intensity of these behaviors, I may see I'm going to try to see those stress levels reduce to being eliminated. And if I can't get them eliminated, I'm going to keep them under managed care and make sure they stay as low as absolutely possible. Are these abnormal repetitive behaviors changing? And I am constantly watching. I'm doing welfare assessments all the time. Are these behavior issues changing? If not, time to modify that behavior modification plan. Um, and enrichment should be a part of every behavior modification plan. Just checking the comments real quick. And enrichment is part of every single part of our behavior enrichment or our behavior modification plans, whether that's foraging, whether that's incorporating um, choice, control, complexity through foraging, through training, what have you. I am constantly looking at all of those. So, lack of variety. Enrichment, this is what I'm looking at when I look at different enclosures, when I'm going out to other facilities. What is the variety? Is that the same thing that was here yesterday? Is that the same enrichment item that was here last week? If it is, especially if the animal is not engaging with it, get it out. I will look at it if that animal doesn't engage with that piece of enrichment within 15 minutes to an hour and a half. I am changing something, and I will shape proximity. Um, I will change up the enrichment to make it more easy for the animal to understand, but that enrichment needs to change. Um, and I want to dive deeper into that, but I will later in this live stream. It needs to provide variety. We try to offer at least 3 different forms of enrichment per animal per day here. Our work focuses extremely heavily on enrichment. Stagnant environments, when nothing changes, objects within the environment don't change. That is not a little red flag. That is a huge red flag. Because, and also, uh, speaking about variety, if we're not giving variety as an enrichment in whatever form we're offering, studies show that predictability leads to boredom, and the same old piece of enrichment can actually positively punish the animal's behavior of interacting with it. So I want you to look and see, are the animals interacting with that so-called enrichment? If not, it's not enrichment. Um, you'll see apathy, withdrawal, and studies show, I know I'm jumping ahead, studies show that one of, I think this was Minch and Meehan out of UC Davis, did this the study I'm referring to. An animal that does nothing in their enclosure is one of the saddest cases to see. An animal that just sits there. Um, Lack of complexity. There's other studies that say most environments, animal environments, lack complexity. And that is what we focus on here. We focus on the 3 C's: choice, control, complexity, all the time. If you are lacking one or more of those, you will start to see animals become unengaged. I want to see animals thriving and engaged, because when they're engaged, they're learning and they have control over their environment. And that's why I always say natural enrichment is not enough. Most natural enrichment lacks complexity. These animals are not living in natural environments. Let's pay them back through enrichment and say thank you for if this is an ambassador animal. Speaking of ambassador animals, I wanted to show my Deaf Dogs Rocks coffee mug this morning in honor of our late deaf dog, Levi. Um, there can be a lot of signs of frustration, avoidance, and fear with the enrichment when it's too complex. We're introducing something too complex too fast. Let me take a look at the comments. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, Robin says avoid cage furniture. Isn't that the truth? I was gonna maybe, I'm only halfway through this. And when I try to rush through, I hate rushing through topics that are so important. So I may come back and cover more um, bullet points in more detail. Um, when we provide too complex of enrichment, too complex means the animal can't figure it out. We can actually unknowingly reinforce undesired behaviors, especially if you're working with an animal that has self-injurious behaviors such as eye poking, mutilation. You provide too complex of enrichment for that animal, you can actually unknowingly reinforce those self-injurious behaviors. Um, Unused or ignored objects, like Robin said, cage furniture, use it or lose it. I'm currently reading a study on the neuroprotective effects of cognitive enrichment in early life, in animals through early life, throughout life, in animals that have a history of no enrichment, and animals in late life. It is not too late to provide enrichment. If the animals are not interacting with it, it is not enrichment. And Robin called it cage furniture. I also call it superficial or decorative items. Um, if it's not promoting natural behaviors, I'm focusing on the natural behaviors of the animals. I am also focusing on the behavior of the individual animal. So I'm going to take a look at the comments real quick. Sylvia says, I love enrichment for confidence building. Yes. Yes, I see that it builds, and so does in training, if you're actually using positive reinforcement and applied behavior analysis is one of the animal's preferred form of enrichment. That builds confidence. I know, I see it. I see it. So I am giving these live streams to you to help you understand what you're looking at. Ask me questions. Ask me questions during this live stream. When I'm done with this live stream, I sit here and go back through the live stream. And then I keep an eye on that live stream all day and on my phone. And as soon as I see a notification, I hit it and I reply. So I am here to help you. Ask the questions that you want to ask. Ask what measures you can take. You can email me, like I said, Laura at the animalbehaviorcenter.com. And you can, let me get that up there real quick. Future episodes, I can dive into these more deep. I can show examples. I can have a future episode of why does this happen? I can have an episode on how to assess and improve enrichment effectiveness. I can have episodes and help you design. This is what we do in the memberships, your animal assessment. I can have a future episode on practical tips and examples. Like I said, always feel free to email me. If you're watching this live stream and you want to know more, jump on our email newsletter list. You can find that on our website at theanimalbehaviorcenter.com, and you will be notified of all future episodes. Also, we got a lot of new things coming. This time next week, I'm going to be extremely busy and extremely happier. And I may do a live stream and show you what we're working on. So we're also coming out with our public podcast, so pay attention to that. Um, Jennifer says, take advantage of other senses. Yes, and there are a lot of different forms of enrichment. Um, so keep an eye on our future live streams. We live stream every Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Keep an eye on our live drop-in classes, which you can find on our website at theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. We also offer all these other services, including our memberships, and pay attention to our nonprofit, the Sam I Can Foundation. And with that, I want to say thank you. Thank you for being here. If you are here, it's because you are like-minded and you want to learn to know how to do better. And Lisa, thank you very much. She says, happiness looks good on you. I am very happy, guys. I am very happy. And with my happiness comes creativity. So stay tuned. And with that, I want to say thank you, and I'll see you guys next Sunday. Take care.